We're live. Podcast Hawaii. Nick Mita.
What's up, bro?
Thanks for coming. So Nick Mita is my brother-in-law's brother-in-law. So I just say brother-in-law.
That's easy.
And many things. Father, Christian, former pro surfer, local boy. What you went? Where you at? Midpack?
Oh, no, I went to
Marino, Townie.
100%.
And just an interesting guy. So we always talk at like the family barbecues and we chat about surfing or business usually, or sometimes family. Yeah, surfing, business, and family. And I asked Nick to be on, so thanks for coming.
Yeah, buddy.
So let's. We talked about some of the things we could talk about, but anything like what's going on with you?
Oh, this thing could be so long. Yeah.
We'll probably have 2-3. Like you'll be a regular. You'll be a regular.
Okay.
But I remember when I met you, Corey, like you and Corey started dating.
Mm-hmm.
So they're, there's a surfer guy, Nick, whatever. And even though like I heard of and knew of all your friends, I didn't know of you. Actually, Townie and maybe surfing more in Japan or something. But like Dane, which we're not going to say Dane's nickname there. Dane knew Nick. Was like, yeah, I know Nick and blah, blah, blah. So we met and I was like, oh, that guy surfs good. And he hangs out with all those rippers. And then I went to your guys' wedding. We cruised in California.
Mm-hmm.
And you were surfing professionally. And then the nuclear thing really shifted you from that, yeah?
Yeah.
When was that?
Oh, you did some research.
I don't know. I remember because I was in California and you were like, no, I'm not going to go back because the radiation or something. And
Oh, wow. Was that time? That was 2011 when I came?
I don't know. I think it might have been a message, like a Facebook message. I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot of questions you just asked.
Well, anyways, let's start. Kid days. Where you from? Kaimaki?
Yep. So I grew up in Kaimaki and went to St. Patrick's till 7th grade. That's a small private school. And then went to Marino after that, Punahou Lower Campus.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
Lower Campus
Because
Punahou.
the parking lot, for the Punahou Carnival.
Oh.
And then from there, went to KCC and then was a pro surfer. So I was, I don't know how my parents did it, how they put me into private school, but I remember eating a lot of sandwiches and whatnot and trying to cut corners here and there so they could put me in there.
Yeah.
It's a good thing that I didn't go to Kaimaki High School because I would get beat up, guarantee.
Think so?
Yeah. I was fast though, but
they
would catch me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I went to those schools, grew up playing baseball. I was a sports kid, baseball, soccer, flag football. It's too small to play football.
That's one thing I always kind of thought in the back of my head. I noticed about you, like, not a lot of really serious surfers are also baseball players. Yeah?
Yeah.
Who do you know anyone else? Or who's a serious, like, football or baseball player?
That surfs? I just
That,
asked
like, surfs really good or,
That's so funny because I just texted my buddies like, hey, check out this baseball fight. And they're like, because there's a big fight yesterday. Jose and Tim. Anyway, and they're like, who watches baseball? I said, well, if you're a townie and you're an Asian, you're guaranteed playing baseball. Right? That's just how it is.
Or Mililani, yeah.
Or Mililani, yeah. Anything except the North Shore.
Yeah.
You're pretty much playing baseball.
But you don't, like the guys, like, I'll name drop, like the guys that like Joel, Centeo, and Shibats, and
Shibats might be able to throw a baseball, but
none of those guys, like, have a baseball or, like, the way you are. I always noticed that. I was like, oh, he's like a full-on surfer, but also, like, a sports guy. It's not too many.
Yeah. Those guys like football, but they...
but they never, like, play in high school, huh?
No, I don't... They surfed in high school. So I grew up playing... Thank God I went to Marino, so I got to start playing soccer and baseball. I think I even ran track. I even did bowling. I did everything. But when I went to Marino, I didn't get cut. Yeah, bowling's fun.
Yeah.
But those guys only surfed. And I only got into surfing when I was 16.
That trips me out, too.
Yeah.
This guy, our media guy behind the camera, he's came from the mainland starting to surf. And he realizes, like, how it's not like you, like, learn to throw a baseball in weeks or, like, there's an immersion in just hundreds and hundreds of hours that has to happen just to be able to paddle and not look goofy, right?
It is.
So to start at 16, you like, wait, you were like a bodyboarder before 16 and like went beach every day and then grabbed a surfboard, or like, what was the case?
I was a wall rat. So I was
You were a wall rat.
I was a wall rat before that. For those who don't know, that's a townie.
Oh
That's
yeah,
walls.
in Waikiki, there's the wall that goes out, and yeah, that's the wall rats. The
So
kids jumping off the wall.
Yeah, over there, graveyards. I was a wall rat, and then my dad, he surfed, and he was a big baseball guy. He played, I think it's called Puerto Rican League, so that's where all the college guys played, and then he had to start work. Anyway, my dad really loved surfing. He rode for HIC and worked there.
Yeah?
And there wasn't pro surfers back in that was like Jerry Lopez days.
You gotta, yeah.
So you're not making a lot of money, and he wanted me to get into surfing. So I was still bodyboarding, and I remember like freshman, sophomore year, he'd buy surf videos instead of bodyboard videos. And I was like, bro, so I don't know if you watched Taylor Steele, but the first video I had was Focus. Taylor Steele's like a really famous surf video maker. And the first video I had was Focus.
I probably had some VHS tapes back in the day.
Guarantee.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't know. You know what VHS tapes are?
Yeah.
Okay. So had Focus, and we go surfing, and he would, every time we go to town, I remember, he might say no, but he was lying. He'd grab my bodyboard and put a surfboard in there. And I remember one particular time he did that, and I was like, bro, where's my board? He's like, no, you guess you got to surf now.
Yeah.
And I surfed out at, I think it was second holes or first holes. It's a really small, junky wave in town.
Where's that?
I can't tell you.
Oh, you can't.
Nah, it's in Ala Moana. It's right next to concessions.
Oh, okay.
It's not a huge deal,
Yeah.
I say that so that it's not crowded and nobody gets mad at me for spilling beans. But
we're not talking about Kauai. You can
no,
talk a little bit.
It's town. It's Ala Moana, bro.
Yeah.
So I got a little head dip. I probably didn't even get barreled. I was probably just in the pocket, and I was hooked. From that point on, I was hooked, and that was maybe right when I was 16. So between sophomore and junior year, and my dad was pumped. He bought me a board, and I was on my way. So I played baseball all the way till for Marino. I was really small too.
Yeah.
I was 5'2" when I graduated.
5'2"?
5'2".
So when you graduated high school?
Yeah.
Oh, so you grew after high school?
I grew after. I was 4'8" when I was a freshman. So
wow.
My son is 11 years old, and he's almost as tall as I was.
I
was mini.
A lot of surfers are smaller, but I feel like in the newer generation, maybe not. Like there's big guys like Zeke and
there's big guys.
Yeah, John's pretty big and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But in the 90s and stuff, most of those guys small. Like Sonny was a big guy, right?
Yeah.
Big guy, but like.
Who else was pretty tall?
Just growing up in Evo, like Dustin.
Oh yeah.
Dustin Quizon.
Hammer.
So like we'd be on knee-high days, and he'd be boosting like 360 on like a knee-high day, and all of his crew, like all of Dustin, all of the people that hung out with, they're all like little, and they surf good. And then Joel's got Ira's pretty tall.
Ira's tall.
Ira's. Shout outs to Ira. Smooth style.
That's pretty sick that we all know the same guys. Always so small.
A lot of surfers are small though.
That's true. Under 6 feet, you mean?
Kelly's small.
I mean, everybody's under 6 feet. Ross Williams is pretty big. He's tall. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I grew up small. I was mini. I passed 100 pounds and 5 feet when I was my junior year.
What?
I was excited.
Really?
So at Marino, they have lockers that are like 1, 2, 3, 4. Freshman to senior year. Seniors on the top.
Oh yeah.
So I remember freshman year being like, bro, I better grow.
Oh, you're not gonna reach him.
Or I ain't gonna reach that thing. and next to me was Brandon Miyagi. He played baseball too, and I was like, Brandon, he was my height at the same time. We better grow, bro. We're not gonna reach that thing. And it was scary. But anyway,
you guys had compact strike zone, huh?
Oh, bro,
hard to pitch, you guys.
I was so small and so underdeveloped. I remember there was a kid named Buster Smalls, and he was a Punahou catcher. And when I got called up to Vars, because we had no JV, so sophomore year, I remember, he was crouching down and he was bigger than me. Kid had a goatee. I was tripping. I was like, man, this guy is huge, and guys are throwing gas when you're 5 feet tall, Anyway, our team wasn't that good. Although I made a lot of really good friends, Brian and Kevin. Higa, they're my good friends till today, and they're really good. But after I literally lost every game my whole high school career.
Really?
So 9 games, you can do the math. 9 games in intermediate, 21 games in sophomore year, 21 games in junior year. So what is that? 42, 51, 51. And we go into games like, I remember going to playing mid-pack particularly, and it was like I was in the outfield, I was in left field, and they were smashing balls. I'd run to the fence, grab the ball, throw it, and run to the fence, and I have a glob of sunflower seeds in my pocket. It was gone mid-inning.
That's a long inning if you run out of seeds.
Long inning, bro. Yeah. Come in, 1, 2, 3, get back out. And then I remember the coach being like, bro, what's going on? Like, you guys, I think we need to practice more. And I was like thinking, I just ran to the fence like 100 times back and forth, man. Yeah. And thank God, one of our captains, Shane, he was like, let me talk to the boys. And he's like, hey, you guys want snacks or should we practice? We're like, snacks. He's like, coach, we're going to eat snacks. Shoots, thanks. And our coaches, looking back now, I guess I can say like a lot of them, the techniques they had, they were really young.
Yeah.
I don't think they had kids. And I think that's an important part of being a coach is knowing that, how to be, every kid is different. So from that season on, and my dad being a good baseball guy, I was like, hey, can I be done with this senior year? And he's like, yeah.
I was going to ask, like, if you got into surfing 16, because when I moved to Hawaii, I had previously played baseball in Florida. And I was, 12, and they called my mom and I was like, hey, we want him to play on the traveling team. We travel around the Southeast playing, and she's like, oh, he just told me he's staying in Hawaii. And then I played for a year because my dad made me. But high school, I went, and they like the first day of practice is brutal. Like, guys are throwing up, and I quit. I told my dad, I was like, Dad, take me to the beach. After he's like, you're like spent. You can't go to the beach. And I was like, please take. And I still had like my first board still, so I was newer to surfing, and because I was sponging before too, right? And I couldn't even stand up. I was cramping so bad.
Oh yeah.
So I was just sitting out there in the water, but I was like, I remember it was fence line side of White Plains.
Okay.
Because I just couldn't paddle. I was done, and I was like, I'd rather be out here not able to stand than go to baseball practice. And I quit. So for you, junior year, senior, like, it wasn't like, oh, I just want to surf. I don't want to play baseball. Did that happen?
Well, like, you got to remember, I was literally 5 feet tall. Yeah. I've just made 5 feet tall, and I was playing baseball. So, and, the kids are, 5'10"? They're as big as you, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's a lot of, it's human nature to not want to do something you're not successful at, especially for that many years.
Yeah.
And so if you're going 3 years in 0 whatever, when it counts, right, in high school, 0-50, and you're not big and seeing a lot of success, you're not going to want to do it.
Yeah.
But if you surfed and you had fun doing it and saw success getting better than your friends, and it's going to grow. The desire's going to grow.
Yeah.
So that's what I just nerded out on surfing, and bro, I knew everybody, all my friends now, my best friends now. I really looked up to them. Look, back in the day, it was newspaper results, so I knew who was getting results. My division was like. So Joel, all those guys, they're younger than me. Joel, Fred, Shabbat. Yeah.
That's enough for like surfing Hassa. They're in a different division, huh?
Yeah.
Or whatever, right?
1 grade lower.
Yeah.
So, but they would do the open. And so that's when we would all be in there. And I was like, bro, I was obsessed. I would, at like, what is that? 17, 18, 19, 20-ish, right around that age. That's when everybody parties. And I didn't party. I would stay home, watch movies all day, rewind it all day, and just figure out where their head goes, where they're looking, how they're pushing, where their shoulders
Let's give some frame. So Nick and I talked about this, like the family barbecues or whatever. I look at, because I know, like, how obsessive I am.
Yes.
And I wanted so bad to like fit in and be as good of a surfer as I could and all this stuff. Yeah. And I got okay. Like, I could win like a Hassa.
You won the military contest.
Yeah, the military contest. Yeah. So it's not like, I ain't longboarding like Venton or anything, Mm-hmm. But I tried, and I couldn't get there. But because I was in the water with those guys and like Kamu and Kiko Awai. Kiko was a good basketball. He was a good basketball player.
Kiko was probably good at everything.
But
shout out to that guy, the best Instagram ever.
Funniest Instagram, yeah. But I couldn't get to that like Koa and Kamu level or like, you know. And so I've told you like there's a level of talent and you're like, no, bruh, I started at 16. I had to work for it. And I'm not trying to take anything away from you.
Yeah.
But I've just been in the water with Dustin and guys like you.
Yeah.
And like from 13 years old. And I'm like, oh, there's just something different here. There's something here. Now, can you work on it and get better? But this is not here to debate, but I just want to, for people listening, I'm like setting a frame of reference. Like you could stand up on a board and had some balance, maybe greater than the regular person, but you obsessed after that. Like you studied video, didn't party. You weren't winning at first. Like how'd that, like, what was that like? Because I love thinking about success principles and mindset. And one of the things is just thinking that you're capable and worthy of it.
That's 100%.
If you don't think you're capable and worthy, you're not going to study video.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he kind of like dips his right ear and really exaggerates his shoulder to get into that back turn. Or like, so you got obsessed. Like, tell me about that growth period from 16 to when'd you go to Japan for the Japan tour?
Probably 21. So from
those 5 years.
So it's when I look back at it now, it's pretty crazy because when I started surfing, I was 16. I knew who everybody was, and back then it was, you know, my buddies, bro. It was Joel, Fred, Shabbat. Shabbat was the guy. Moody, Bam. Bam was younger. Who else? Macy. Shout out to Macy.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, and I would watch H3O, Gotcha Backdoor, and I would watch it over and over and over. So going backwards, my dad was he was a very honest guy. So this is a very like pivotal moment in my life. I was probably about 18 and I graduated high school. I think it was like that summer. So I'm doing a Diamond Head contest. I'm from Diamond Head. I grew up surfing Diamond Head. So
Hassa?
Hassa.
Oh, yeah.
And so it was a Hassa event, and I got 5th out of 6th. And I might have been only 6 guys in the whole event.
Were there 2 heats? Or
might have been only like a one.
Like a 1 heat thing, yeah?
I was like, oh, bro, I got a trophy. And I'm going home all pumped. And like we're like, hey, say bye, see you later. And it's like exactly like one of those when you get in the car with your dad after one game. And he closed the door, and it's like, bro, how come you? So first thing he goes, hey, good job, but you need to stop doing this. And I was like, what? And I'm hanging out with all these guys that are like, yeah, great job. You know, nobody's going to tell you suck. But he was like, hey.
No, they would.
I mean, you're really good friends. Probably would. You know?
They would tell you suck. I know. They told me I suck. Those same guys told me I suck.
Ever Beach is more tough than Town, though. You got to remember that. Townie's like, non-confrontational. You know what I mean? We're more mellow, more non-confrontational. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So he goes, hey, you need to stop wasting your money. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? I'm holding a trophy. Of course, it's 5th out of 6th.
Yeah.
And he's like, you need to start working on yourself and getting better because you're wasting your money. And so I'm telling you this only because your friends are never going to tell you this. Nobody is ever going to go out on a limb and tell you to be the honest truth. And I was like, wow. So he said, you can do 2 things. You can cry about it or you can do something about it. If you want to do something about it, I'll help you. And so from that moment on, I realized, okay, I got to try to do something. So it was a hard couple of years from 18 to 20 where I would, and
that's late to be getting good at surfing.
But if you're, it is kind of late. Like
that's impressive. That's by 18, like everyone, like people are writing for whoever and like on like maybe trying to do a QS at 18 or which QS for the crowd is like the qualifying series. Or it's called something different now though.
It's called the Challenger Series, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm so old.
It used to be QS back then.
It used to be the WCT, the one that Kelly and John and Fred and everybody was on. Yeah. And then there's the QS, that's the one that tries to get onto the CT.
Right.
So top 40 in the world, and then everybody else on the QS fighting to get.
Yeah, the G League and basketball or whatever. But,
yes, exactly.
But by 18, guys are already doing that. Like, and you're like, oh, I just started surfing 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That's
started
late, bro.
Guys are like already signing pro contracts by then. Yeah. They're already getting ads, and I knew, bro, I was a fanboy. I knew everybody. I shouldn't say fanboy, but I was more like a
Study them.
like
you
I would
knew
know
how they
everything
turn
about
and-
the industry of who's the best surfers and all that.
Yeah.
And I would like, you know, when I had a heat, I'd pretend I wouldn't know anybody, but I knew everybody. I seen that guy got second 2 weeks ago, or that guy. But I was that guy where, see, I think it was good that I grew up small and I lost so much at Marino that I knew how to lose. And I knew that losing is a part of getting better.
Interesting.
So I knew I wasn't afraid to lose. You know, when you have so much success and you come across a failure or a mistake or something,
Yeah.
sometimes you don't know how to take it.
Right.
But I was the opposite, where I kind of realized that, and then I saw all these. I had posters on the wall, like, you know, what, like all kids, right?
Yeah.
And there was, I remember, like Kalani Robb, who else? There was Jose
Shane
Canseco,
Dorian.
all those guys around the wall.
Jose Canseco.
I think, and then I just remember wanting to do that, you know, and obsessing, and I went to another level of trying to figure it out and trying to watch videos and being out there all day long. When it was horrible, when it was good, didn't matter.
Yeah.
But
Diamond Head was your training ground.
was my training ground. But
Diamond
I would.
Head is like a town Barb's almost. Like
Diamond Head is exactly like Barbers almost, yeah.
It's like that training ground, yeah.
But I would look at it differently, where I would look at what it takes to get successful. So, like you said, you wanted to get to that level, and you would hang out with the guys and do everything that they do. But I remember, because I was so small, I realized you have to do extra.
Hey, aloha, everyone. This is Derek Okahashi, host of Podcast Hawaii. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the show. I have two things to ask. Whether you're listening to this on a streaming platform or on YouTube, please go comment and follow and do all the things to gas us up and keep us going. And in that comment, let me know who you'd like for me to have a conversation with next. Is there an interesting university professor, someone who owns a business, a controversial person, a politician? Whoever you want to see on this show, please let me know in the comment section of whatever platform you're on. Also, I am a real estate agent and a real estate team leader. My small team, Core Team Hawaii, is one of the top real estate teams in all of Hawaii. So if you have anything in real estate, if you have any need at all in real estate, please think of Core Team Hawaii first. Go to coreteamhawaii.com. The link will be in the description of all of these shows moving forward. Book a call with me. Let's get you taken care of in real estate. Back to the show.
So from a young age, my dad always tried to make me do more than what others did. He constantly told me, and I didn't get it until I grew up older, grew into my body, that you need to do what nobody else does to get success. You need to do what nobody else sees. So similar to you, you have all this success. Nobody sees what you've done to get this success.
Yeah, I think probably some like insecurities and things around not being as good at surfing as I wanted to, around, you know, just certain high school experiences or whatever.
Yeah.
Probably drives my like business drive now, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't peak then, so I'm like trying to peak now, right? Maybe, but in the surfing thing, like, so do you think that we've actually never surfed together, but
No.
I couldn't shortboard. Like I tried to work my way down and I couldn't. I like, do you think I could have gotten to the point with watching enough video? Like I obsessed like you, but I couldn't look at it and be like, oh, like if I dip my shoulder and really drive, you know, on the rail and bend my knees, like I just couldn't put it together. Like, do you think with like coaching I could have or something? Because I feel like there's a talent level that Dustin and Joel, like I was in the water with these. I feel like there's a talent level that they just had. Like LeBron has like he outworks everyone, and he has some things that God gave him that other people don't have. You don't think surfing? I know surfing's not leaping and running, but
no, you're
I think
right,
there's like
though.
some balance and weight distribution and drive. Like, you know, like at the NSSA in Cal, you know the story about how Joel beat this section, and the announcer was like, "If he makes that section, I'll give him $100."
No.
Like he was at the NSSA in his senior year, I think. And the announcer was like, he's not beating that section. I give him $100. And I don't know if Joel could hear it, but it was, and I remember seeing him do this at Barb's, like 50 yards, like no one can make it. And Joel just, like makes it.
Yeah.
I don't know if everyone can learn that, but you are more of the mindset of, I think you can. You just got to work hard.
I don't know, man. That's a good point, because I see like, God blessed me with athletic ability. I'm not saying I'm athletic, but I'm not athletic.
Yeah, you
so
can play sports. Like we can go
I can play
baseball,
sports. I'm not.
soccer,
I'm average, right? So
Yeah.
I don't know, but I feel like you can just because I did it. And like you said,
Yeah.
you didn't. The one thing that I think that would help if anybody's listening, Mike, is video yourself surfing. Because
It was harder back in our day. That was
Yes.
harder to do.
way harder.
Way harder to do.
No,
Yeah.
the
You
20
can
pound
rewind
camcorder.
Surfline now if you want to.
That's all.
But
I
in
do.
our day, yeah. that was
Dad
hard.
had to have the 50-pound camera on his shoulder,
Yeah,
and he
yeah.
had to go video you. And
Yeah.
so he would. I would get video footage with my buddy Calais. His dad would video. Thanks, Uncle Jay, for all the video footage. But you know, when you watch yourself, it's pretty humbling. Like it's pretty like, oh, brah, I thought I did a layback. That was a layback. Like, where's the good wave? Like that was your good wave.
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I think I want to quit. Like, did I look like that? How
I
come
bet you that would have helped.
it helped tremendously. And then the other thing that helped was mechanics. Because I grew up small, I had to learn how to play big and do the things that you like. As an example, you have no problem pushing with your back foot because you got more strength. You know what I mean? And for me, I'd have to be able to I can't do it surfing wise, but baseball wise, my son's 4, so super small.
Yeah, yeah.
But he has to try to utilize every good technique he can because his strength is limited.
Yeah.
Whereas a bigger kid who's my size, same age as him, can hit the ball with success and not use technique.
Right.
Hopefully, the idea is in 5 or 6 years, they will be the same size and technique overcomes all.
Yeah.
But in surfing, I used to listen to Kelly talk, and he's very technical about using his front arm. And so I would notice how you got to look where you want to go and put your left shoulder there. And like, say you want to do a carve off the top, you'd have to look down, then pull with your left arm and pull as far as you can. And I would go that deep.
Yeah.
I even told my dad the other day, I said, hey, because he had a hip surgery and 2 knee replacements.
Wow.
Or a hip replacement, a knee replacement, and ACL.
In one session?
No, all different, in his life. So he's I just trying to say he's not exactly tip top shape.
Yeah, yeah.
But he always used to get stuck on the top when he catches waves because he has to lift his leg up. And I told him, every time you pull your head up, it pulls your weight back, and now you're getting stuck on the top of the lip. So you need to keep your head down. So I would notice these little things about pushing, and ask my buddy Calais about it. Like, hey, what do you think about me? Or Greg Nakamura, he's a really good close friend of mine who I'd ask him tips on this and that. And because I had to learn so quickly, I had to be very like that. Oh, I need to hit the lip here.
I can see
instead of
that.
there. Yeah.
I would try there are things I know more technically, like jiu-jitsu or whatever. And I never learned surfing, especially back then, wasn't a thing where people talked about it that technically.
No.
You just surf, and if you're good, you can rise to the top. Like your cream will rise. But no one really, like in the 80s, 90s, no one really talked real technically about, you put your weight distribution here. And it wasn't as much of a thing, I think, as now.
Yeah, you're right. It wasn't. Definitely not. Another thing, too, now that you say that, another thing that helped me out was training. So I did a lot of, shout out to Vern Lilly. I know he's not listening to this, but hopefully one of his kids is.
Yeah.
He was my math teacher at Marino, and he was a trainer at Kamehameha.
Was he the one who had you like running hills and stuff?
That's chemo. So
that's chemo.
So I started with Vern, and even Zeke, he trained with Vern a little bit when Zeke was like 11. And he had me training, and from training and lifting weights and all that, it's not only good for your strength, but it's good for your mental toughness, because when I'm lifting and doing, like, let's say I'm doing squats for 30 seconds straight, he'd have me do a lot of circuit training.
Yeah.
So he'd go to like 30 seconds, 45 seconds, 1 minute, 15 seconds off. And if you're at 30 seconds and you got 15 more seconds, and he'd be screaming at you to push, you don't think you can. But after you accomplish that, you realize, I can do this.
There's more in the tank. You're David Goggins, where he's like at 60%, your brain shuts off. You got way more in there.
Yes, you go to that second. So I think that helps a lot with, like, these guys are better than me. Like, like, I don't know if you trained back then, lifting and strength and conditioning, but
No, more like bro kind.
Yeah.
Like,
Plus, you was big probably back then
I
already.
just lifted at Mililani 24 and like ate McChickens and drank protein shakes. Back then. That's what I
Oh,
was.
he was probably monster, bro.
At one point, I put up 375 bench sloppy.
Oh.
I could do 365 pretty clean at one point, but I was just a big bloated.
I don't know if guys are ripping at benching. You know, that's a lot of weight,
No,
bro.
but see, that's it. So in all of this, I just want to state, I'm not a big, like, I hate excuse making and that mentality, but also like aware of my limitations. And so on one hand, I was like, I just couldn't get that good in surfing. And I would want to make the excuse, well, I'm bigger than everyone else here. But then Justin Centeo would come.
Oh, Justin's
And he
big
surfed
boy.
good.
Yeah.
He surfed really good, and he's bigger than me. And I was like, it ain't my size, you know?
I have a lot of big buddies that surf Diamond Head. Like, shout out to those guys, John Char, Travis Ferrara. They surf out at Diamond Head, and they like Jordy and Parko because they're big too.
Yeah.
And yeah, Justin is big, bro. So
I mean, he thinned out afterwards, but he was like big in all ways before. Like, he was big brother, and he surfed good. And he was riding like a 6'4", like something fairly small, but just really wide and meaty. But he surfed good, and I was like, frick. Then I was like, nah, but he's a Centeo. Something in the blood.
yeah, Rattle, all those guys. Yeah, Joel is amazing. But I think instead of benching, you should have squatted. You know, because
I
surfing
didn't
is
even do legs back then.
surfing is all. You know what? Actually,
day.
all sports are legs if you think about it.
You know how I've gone to Waikai twice.
Yeah.
And the second time, a couple of these things became apparent because one, the guy got in and he's like, this is how you turn. And he like really exaggerated his head. And he's like, I know it feels awkward to you because you're a longboard or whatever, but like just turn your head super far.
Yeah.
And I did it. And all of a sudden I could cut back and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah. And so that technical thing you're talking about, like, it all happened within a 45-minute session. I was like,
there you go.
I wonder if I would have did this back when I was a teenager and like had someone really show me, you know. And then and my legs, I couldn't like to stay on a wave for like 2 minutes and just keep pumping. Your legs are sore.
I heard it's a treadmill, bro. I heard that thing is nuts.
So yeah, your legs are sore. So yeah, I think so. All the things you're saying are true. I guarantee I probably could have got better than I was if I did it smarter. I don't think there was any lack of obsession. But maybe I was just like a meathead about it. I didn't approach it in a technical way.
Yeah.
I was okay. Like I could hang. I could cut back and, you know, hang my toes.
You're just a good surfer, bro. You're fine.
Yeah, but the level of the Campbell High School in those days was like
You guys had a
high
hammer
schools.
team.
Bro, it was nuts.
Kikoa and Kamu went to Campbell?
No, but they were like at Barb's every afternoon.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like all the Campbell guys, and then like Bacalso would come down.
Bam's unreal.
And then, yeah, and sometimes I seen like Shibats over there before. And,
Bots grew up over
Moody,
there.
like Joel, like Moody would come with Joel
Yeah.
and stuff. So in the water was like, that time in the water at Barb's was insane. It was like a whole magazine spread. Everyone's
Marvin surfs pretty good.
Jason
Yeah.
Gantz.
Jason Gantz.
Oh.
Yeah. Macy was out there too. Like all those.
Macy.
It's pretty.
It was a cool time. That's one thing. So whoever you're around, whether it's real estate, insurance, if you're around winners, like they elevate you, right?
Yeah.
And so even though I wasn't like hanging out with those guys drinking, but I just got to surf in the same water and just I'm paddling out and they're like airing over me or whatever. Just being around it, you're like, oh, so you'll like try a little more.
Yeah.
Try and turn a little harder or whatever.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's better. That's the better attitude than like, oh, bro, I'll never do that.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, how do you? It's you know what? And maybe if you ask Venton or Dustin, like, hey, can I ask you a question? Like, which way did you push or where did you look when you did that turn? Similar to when you did jits, and you're like, wait, can you choke me out again and do that again? You know what I mean? Like, you leave your ego at the door, and it's the ceiling is high.
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? Yeah, but whatever. I don't even surf now. But it was a fun time. It was a fun. So, but back to you to start kind of, even if you were a good bodyboarder, to start picking up a board at 16, and then how old were you? You were 21 when you went to Japan and started surfing on the tour.
I did my first QS when I was, I think, 20 or 21. because I could drink a beer. Radio Cheryl took me there. I went to Japan and I made the money round, and I was excited. I thought I won the contest. Because you got to figure, like, 5 years before that, I didn't really surf. And then
That's
or
crazy.
5 years I started surfing, and then I was just like, wow. Growing up, I knew all those guys, you know, Shabats, Fred, Joel, Moody, Bam, Mike Dodd, Capena, you know, all these, Zen. I'm trying to name all my little crew: Cody, Nalu, Andrew, Oliver. Like all these guys, I looked up to all of them, you know, and I knew who they were. And so when I come to the events, you got to figure these guys have been hanging out for 10, you know, a long time together.
Yeah.
And I'm that new kid. And so I can drive. I'm hanging out in my car. I particularly remember one. It was a H3O event, H3O event. It was at VLAN.
H3O used to make events.
They had a
that was a TV show, right?
It was a Hurley, yeah. But they had like maybe it wasn't H3O. Maybe it was just because Mike Electronic did the marketing,
the video
but
or something.
Yeah. It was a Hurley Junior Pro at VLAN.
Okay.
And so all those guys were in it. And at that time, that was like, I'm sure every generation has like a group of crew.
We might be sound like uncles right now, but that, like, yours/my generation, like late 90s, the early 2000s, bruh.
I don't know.
Hawaii, I mean, I probably got now. It's probably
the
good
kids now are unreal.
But are they all in a like 4-year group like it was back then? It was insane.
I feel like there are, and I don't want to mention everybody's name because I don't know all of them, but if you go, like, I remember just going to Haliva and just being like, whoa.
If you just pay attention, it's still happening.
Yeah. If you watch, like, the events, all these young kids are, like, killing it.
Yeah.
The Monizes, you know, Seth and Josh and Isaiah and Micah, like, wow. And then Kalia is, like, 2-time world champion. Anyway.
Yeah. So you were the Hurley VLAN Pro or whatever?
Hurley VLAN Pro. I remember sitting in my car, and I remember, okay, the goal is just to make some heats. Get to the money round. That was my goal. Make some, because you make money, then you're a pro, right? Sort of. And so I was like, okay, just make heats, get to the money round. And I didn't really have, you know, not sponsors I was working at Town and Country part-time to try to pay for stuff. And then I would go against everybody and just be like, whoa. And I remember, like, a big part of my amateur career was Dean Sumida. He lived in Palolo, and he took me under his wing. He was like my really close friend. And he would help me and tell me what to do. Kind of coach me, you know. Back in the day, we didn't have coaches.
Yeah.
But he'd tell me, like, I remember a couple times he might have been like, hey, like, he didn't want to tell me, bro, you're going to get smoked. Yeah. But he'd be like, hey, just focus on what you need to do. And I knew for some reason, growing up small, being the underdog, I wasn't afraid. Maybe I had small man syndrome, or I had the, like, screw this, bro. Let's see what I can do.
Yeah.
You know? And, like, I knew those guys were all better than me. 100%.
So, like, who were in your heats in this contest?
Oh, bro. I remember heats with, like, guys on, like, Nainoa Sarat. And all these guys I really looked up to.
Yeah.
Like, I literally would watch them to learn how to surf.
They had, like, magazine features already.
Oh, yeah.
And,
like Nainoa, or, like, this guy, Kai Henry. These are big dudes that could move water. Yeah. And I used to watch, like, wow, that's crazy how they can turn like that. Bots would throw tail. You know, just how, and I hadn't surfed the North Shore that much because my dad wouldn't take me.
That's the thing too.
Yeah.
Like, just going country is a different thing. Yeah.
It's a different animal. It's not town. It's not Ala Moana.
Yeah.
But I slowly made heats, made it there. And I just remember that feeling of, like, you don't know everybody. And so, it's pretty scary, you know, but my dreams of trying to do it were bigger than that. And, like, I just tried to, it's hard when you're the rookie, right? Like, when you first start real estate, and you're like, and there's 6,000, I don't know how much people are in the industry, but there's a lot of people in the real estate industry, and you're the new guy, and not necessarily people are pressing on you or whatever, but you just feel like, oh, it's like a fight or flight, right?
Yeah, but they're not, like, they might want to see you do good, but they don't want you to take their position, you know, like their spot on the podium.
Yeah.
So it's competitive.
It is. You're right. Once you get to hey, good job. It's funny, huh?
Surfing has its own, like, you and I know, because we did other sports plus surfing. We, you know, growing up in Hawaii, but surfing has its own, like, cutthroatness to it. It's a unique kind of cutthroatness. It's its own brand. And depending on who's in your heat, and and guys want to fight after heats, and like it's a
Oh,
contentious thing to go into a contest with those kind of guys and surf at that level. So all that going on, and then you gotta like catch a wave and perform while you know like, oh, I'm with a guy that beat a guy up at the last contest, or you know what I mean, like.
I tried to not get beat. I was so small and I
They
can't
leave you
fight.
alone.
Yeah. But I do know like I had the guy did it to me, like he tried to give me interference, you know. So
Yeah.
I mean, and I'll come in and they'll maybe, you know, they don't know me. I'm the new kid, right? Like, bro, I'll give you lickings. Like, hey, like, sorry, like I'm sorry, bro. If I gotta get lickings, I guess I gotta get lickings. But I'm sorry I had to make that heat. Otherwise, it's like I pay for my own. The way I looked at it was all these guys were sponsored. They had pro contracts by then. They weren't paying for stuff. I was working at Town and Country, and I figured for $100, you know, that was $5 an hour back then.
Wow.
And so for $100 entry fee, how many hours I gotta work to get that?
Yeah.
After taxes,
After
right?
taxes, almost your whole week.
And then you know, you still got to pay for gas to get up there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm, you know, in a way, it was good to start from the bottom.
Yeah.
And get there. Helped me to learn a lot of stuff. Yeah.
So that contest, you made the money around.
Yeah, I made a few heats and made the money around. And every time I remember so that was a good event of how like I felt isolated. I remember, I don't know if the boys remember that event, but one of the biggest events that the turning point, I think, from me after my dad's talk to training and getting better was like a year or 2 years later. I did this event in Waikiki. It was like I don't remember. I think it was a church Christian event, but the waves were, you surfed Queens before?
Oh, they used to have that, like church event, church contest, yeah.
They did, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I surf Queens, but not a lot. I surf Queens for contests only.
Did you surf it pumping? Like, I'm
never.
Pretty much blowing out the spot. Sorry, Waikiki guys, but I'm blowing out the spot.
Queens,
Everybody knows.
You can talk about Queens. I think I've surfed it big once.
It's
for HLF.
Oh my God, that wave is like a playground.
It's fun, yeah.
It's like a wave pool.
Yeah.
Before they had wave pools, it was. And I was in an event, and I don't know if you remember Wiki Vila.
I think I heard the name.
Oh, we used to be teammates
why.
on this company called Lava that our buddy Jason Katara, he hooked us up with.
Oh, yeah.
So Wiki was in the event, and he was like the guy, and I was nobody. But I kept making heats, and then we were in the final, and it was so good. I remember Pop's videoed the whole thing, and I think I even got a 10. That was when it was top 3.
Oh, yeah.
It was so good, the waves, and I beat him, and I remember him being like, what? This guy beat me? And we were friends, you know?
Yeah.
And we both knew he was better. But I beat him, and from that point on, it's scary when you get a little taste of success after a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Because the sky's the ceiling from there, right?
Yeah.
You know that.
Yeah.
Like when you first tap somebody and you're like, oh my gosh, that drill worked for like.
Yeah, more recently in real estate. I remember when I first did my business plan in real estate, I went to sell 12 houses. And then now it just depends on how big I want to go. You know, I just go as big as I want, yeah. But I very limiting belief before I had a little bit of success.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was that Queens contest then? Also the like, okay, I can take this as far as I want.
Yeah. I remember my dad saying,
to get a 10 in a contest like that, it's a pretty big deal.
The waves were so good. It was so, and with 4 or 5 guys out, like I never saw anybody in the heat. We were just doing rounds.
Yeah, when it's big, you're spread out. Yeah.
Oh, it was dream come true. Anyway, Townie dream come true.
Townie dream come true.
Yeah, 3-foot waves, Townie dream come true. But I remember my dad telling me after that event, I would surf on the North Shore, and I remember being with like I'd sleep over Zenyo Shifuku's house in Haleiwa, or like Andrew and Mike and Andrew Oliver and Mike Dodd and Nalu Law, their house at Sunset, and Skip. Like I went to KCC because I figured, my parents spent all this money on private school, and here I am surfing. Like I better at least try to get a liberal arts degree, a 2-year degree.
Did you get it?
I did.
Yeah.
Took me 3 years, but I got the 2-year degree. But I remember them being like, nah, no need study. Just let's go surf the waves are firing. Let's go shoot photos. You know, that's when magazines were around. And my dad sat me down. I had bad grades one year, and he said, listen, you're doing two things that you need to, like, if you want to be a pro, go 110% into it.
Oh, I don't know if I met your dad. I gotta meet him.
He's
full of wisdom.
Yeah, he likes to talk. So I don't know. You need like 2 hours.
Uncle.
Great guy, but
Come mentor me, uncle.
Yeah, and I mean, okay, not to just, my mom and dad are divorced, but my mom too and my stepdad, they all I had a
contributed.
They did. They all were like, hey, like, why not? You know, and he was like, hey, if you want to be a pro, go be a pro. But if I don't want you to spend money on school, if you're trying to do that, like, don't waste money. Go do it 100%.
Yeah.
And he would check in on me, like, if I had I always tell him, like, if I had a girlfriend and he calls me and he's like, oh, what you doing? He's like, oh, I'm at the mall with my girlfriend or whatever. He's like, oh yeah, that's going to help you get better. Okay, bye.
I love it.
You know, so like little, like, oh, this guy's trying to, you know, play with my mind. But all those little things really help me out because having somebody back you like that, I remember all the people that backed me and I remember all the people that doubted me. Like I told my son recently that I say it's small man syndrome, but when you grow up small and people always doubt you, I remember particularly this is how crazy I am, but I remember what people wore, where they told me that I wasn't going to make it, what time of the day it was.
That's another interesting thing about you for me is as we've, you know, like at the family barbecues, whatever, it was always more surface. And as we've like peeled back the onion more, like you to be as competitive and driven and the things, like you have the things I have too, but you also like keep it super, you know, aloha and like nice with everyone. I can't be all of both.
Oh,
I'm just like, frick you then.
I have the
go to hell.
I have very bad. That's why going to church helps me a lot. But I think it's small man syndrome that like people, and I'm like yeah, and I smile and everything, but in the back of my head I'm like, oh, it's so on, bro.
Fuel to the fire.
And so my when I was on tour, I'm like going back and forth.
Yeah, there's no structure to it.
When I was on tour, my mom would send me all of these books, and I'm gonna lay this down since I'm not competing anymore. I read this book. It's called Mind Gym. I think I told you about it a long time ago. It changed my life.
I think you told me that, and then you read some real estate book too.
That book changed my life. Yeah, that book changed my life. Yeah. The Mind Gym. Since we're talking about that, the Mind Gym one, it was short stories. I gave it to I try to buy it and give it to kids who I think really want. Like I have my son read it. It's really like 3-4 page stories, but it's an easy read. And I would read it before every heat. And when I got that book, I think I won one event. I made like 3 finals that year. I did the best I've ever done. And I remember all the things in there. And as a coach too, I start reading that again.
This was in Japan on the tour?
It's basically about...
You were you finished in that whole Japan Pro. You finished like first or second, right?
I think one year I got second or third. I can't remember. I was leading for a little bit, and then, dude, it's so hard to go into another country and like take over.
Yeah.
And I was
especially in a thing where you're being judged.
Yeah.
So it's subjective. It's not.
It is. Yeah. It is. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, looking back, it was the best time of my life. Besides being married and having kids. But it was the best time of my life in my 20s.
Smart, huh?
I learned, bro. So I was with Jason Shibata. Prior to that, I would travel with like Darren Turner from Australia, but I travel with Zen Yoshifuku, Jason Shibata, Keiko Imura, all my buddies from Japan, Kazuya, Kesuke, Tepe Tajima, all these guys that I looked up to. And, bro, we had so much fun. And when I traveled with those white guys, we would support each other no matter what. And we knew what would, when you're reading that book, you learn a lot of your environment. Like you're only out there for surfing, you're only out there for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And you got to show your stuff. So I would train hard back then nobody trained. And I would train 3 days a week. I wouldn't tell anybody. I tried not to tell people because I wanted them to think I was getting lucky. I remember back in
Kobe Bryant. Huh? You hear the stories about Kobe, and you'd be like, yeah, you don't need to work out. Then he'd go to the gym.
Yeah. I would do that. I would be that guy. Like whatever it takes to get that edge. Because I grew up small. So I was like, whatever. Yeah. I'm still small, you know. And I remember particularly like Macy or one of my good friends, Travis Hashimoto, like them going to their friends and then being like getting teased for losing to me. And like, oh, that smiley guy, like Nick, whatever, he beat you again, like that guy that smiles all the time, you know. And I'd be like, I would love it. I would just embrace that, because they had no idea how hard I practiced. They had no idea that if while they was going to the club, I was going to sleep early and running up hills with Chemo, and Zeke and Moody and Joel and those guys. Like nobody knew how bad I wanted it. I was psycho. Yeah. Like, to get back then too, I was real selfish. If you were not on my team and negative, then you was against me. Yeah. And I wouldn't say it, but I would think it, you know, and I'll try to distance myself from people that were negative.
That's probably a smart thing to do anytime, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
So, no, how did so you did well? Because I think Bryce or Aaron, like one of our brother-in-laws told us, like, oh yeah, Nick's like number 2 in all of Japan or whatever. I was like, oh, I didn't know he's that good. And then it kind of abruptly, not totally abrupt, but like, you met Corey, your wife, right? Who's my, sister-in-law and whatever. But you guys met, and then the nuclear meltdown in Japan happens or whatever, and you stop going. But it wasn't like a planned exit, right?
No.
Yeah.
So it was really crazy how it ended. So at 20, I got hurt a couple of times. I blew out my MCL, grade 3 injuries, both times, which is like you're hanging by a thread. You know what your MCL? It's your inside of your knee.
Yeah. I know. I strained mine, but I don't know like the different grading.
So the
criteria.
I don't know if X-ray they.
Yeah, I would be in knee surgeries when I did X-ray, but I don't know like the whole orthopedic grading system and stuff.
Grade 4 is a complete tear. So grade 3 is like 1 or 2 strands you're held by. So I did one leg in 2009 or 2010. And like whenever you get hurt, especially at that level, you got to think for me, I took it as like, and because Bryce and Aaron and Adam and you and Corey got me into the UFC, I would take surfing as like serious as that, like, because you got 20 minutes to show your stuff. Mm-hmm. So all the training, all the things that nobody sees you do, run up hills, go surf when the waves are horrible, try out boards, go to Cockroach Bay, like whatever, Irma's, like somewhere, just
Kona winds.
Yeah. I would go when it was horrible. Like,
not good.
When nobody's surfing out, like when everybody's like, oh, the waves are horrible. It would help me to be like, oh yeah, it's horrible. And I'd be like, yes, they're broken already. I'm out there.
Yeah.
And like just everybody's, when they have a negative vibe, I would try to feed it. And that's that Mind Gym book. That's why.
I got to read this book.
Yeah. You mess with people's heads. So 2010, for whatever reason, like I met Corey and we got married in 2010, and just my life outside of surfing was amazing. Married dream girl, won a contest, and just like it shows me that your life outside of your business and work has to be good for that to work. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if it's not good outside of work, you bring it into work. And likewise, if you're outside of work goes into home, it could, it's going to be bad too.
Yeah.
So I learned that at that age that it matters. And that was the best year I had. The last event we did that year with Keiko and Shibatsu, I won a QS, the second QS that I won. And this is from a kid that's never, like, I started at 16, always wanted to be on the podium. And I'll tell you a secret. So I would go to events and I would, when nobody's looking, I would go to the podium.
You'd stand on it. And
I would rub the grass, like the AstroTurf or whatever.
Yeah, they always put turf on it, huh?
They always put turf on it.
Yeah.
And I'll rub it and I'll look up at it and just imagine, like, this is my goal. Get on this thing. Be on the podium. And I always thought, I don't care what sponsors I have. I don't care. Meaning, I didn't care if they weren't cool to other people. If they supported me, that's like... anybody that goes on that thing on the podium looks cool. Because,
in that world, in the surfing world, I know Mike played soccer at a collegiate level. But in the surfing world, if you're a spot, like you almost maybe just don't get sponsored and call yourself like a soul surfer or whatever, then have like a sponsor that's not as cool as the other guy's sponsor. So like people would want to get sponsored by certain brands, and then if you're sponsored by like the startup, it'd be like, bruh, not even sponsored. Like, what?
Yeah.
It would be like a point to tease you on, if anything. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
My dad and my mom and everybody grew, maybe it was, them, they worked hard to provide us to get us into private school. I look back on it now, I don't know how they did it, but thank you very much, Mom and Dad and Uncle Kurt. But to me, that's in the collegiate soccer world, it would be like, dude, that guy has the best shin guards. That guy has the best shoes. That's those $250 shoes.
Yeah.
And don't matter because I'm on stage with the medal and you watching me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's the goal.
Yeah.
Like, it's not, I try to tell my son, and my dad tells me all the time. He told me something recent or a long time ago. He says, it's not your board, bro. It's what's attached to the board.
Yeah. Hey, but board can matter big, right?
Board can matter big, but if you don't know how to do a cutback anyway, that $700 board's not going to matter more than the $200 board, right?
Because my dad used to make me buy my own boards. I'd have to save up. And so, like, I'd save up, like, 400, and then he'd, like, come in with the last 100 or 200. But it'd take a long time to get a board. So I only had, like, a couple boards as a high school kid.
How good is that lesson right there?
It's some kids could probably be okay with a little bit of help. I needed it. I needed him to give me almost nothing. All the way into my 20s, I needed that. And then I never asked him for anything. So now he's 79, and he'll say, like, when I just came back from seeing him, right? He's like, you should ask me for help. Why don't you ask me for help when you and Michelle were almost homeless or whatever? I'm like, you taught me not to ask for help. He's like, yeah, but then you could ask me for help. I was like, no, I'm not going to do it.
Wow.
But my point is I had a Sand Island surfboards. I saved up, bought it. It's horrible. I just couldn't. I was like, bruh, I'm trying so hard to hang, and, like, I can't get it. And all these guys are ripping. And then I got another board from this guy, Jay Hodge. He was this.
Yeah.
You remember those boards?
I think he passed away.
Recently, then.
No, maybe I'm thinking of a different guy. I remember a Bulls guy named Hodge. He got
Bull ahead.
Oh, I don't know.
He moved to Florida.
Maybe not. Oh, different. Then.
But anyways, I got a board, and there's a few good surfers, good longboarders at Barb's that used to ride his boards. And I always like to get, like, an off. I don't like the brand that everyone has, so I got Sand Island, and then I was like, let me just get a Hodge because, like, half the guys at Barb's are riding them. And I remember the first day getting compliments from, like, Dane, and some of them, they're like, oh, Derek. And I was like, bro, that board made a big difference. And you told me, like, you had a magic board one time that
I did.
The kind couldn't replicate.
Yeah.
It can give you an edge, right? You got to, like, be good and train hard. But sometimes boards, like, put you over that edge. Yeah.
Looking back, shout out to Wes O'Sheryl. So Wes O'Sheryl shaped boards for all the Hammer Hawaii guys. Ross Williams, Sonny Garcia, shaped at Blue Hawaii, shaped at Town and Country. He, and shout out to Glenn Matsumoto, who also helped me a huge bit on. Glenn and Wes were huge in my surfing career, and Wes was amazing. And I was super honest with him, but he would, like, his wife told me recently, Nick, all those times you told him that this didn't work or that didn't go in that section or this or that, he would not sleep and think about it and, like, draw on and he has all the files, like, a room full of
sick to be great at your craft.
You do, bro. You do. Yeah. But I wanted to, how you said those guys kind of gave you a little bit of compliment and it made you, like,
first session, like, first few waves, and I was like, oh,
isn't it funny
these
how
good surfers are complimenting me?
Isn't it funny how, like, a high five goes a long way?
Oh, so far. Yeah.
That's what I try to coach. Anyway, so 2010 was an amazing year, like I was saying, and met my wife, got married to my wife, Corey, and just everything was going well. I ended up winning the last event, the last WQS of that year, and our year for the Japan tour starts in April. And I remember, like, just getting ready for Bali. Bali is one of the first events. And in March 11th, 2011, I remember the date. That's how crazy I am with remembering small man syndrome kind of stuff. Yeah, I remember all the bad stuff, all the people and everything. So March 11th, 2011, that tsunami happened. I was devastated. And then I realized the that nuclear plant is pouring all the radiation into the water, and the way the current. I did so much research, called Surfrider Foundation Japan, talked to all my buddies.
I remember us messaging on Facebook. You were like, you weren't even going to surf here for a while.
I was scared to surf anywhere.
Yeah. Because of the way it was like coming over or whatever.
Yeah.
Because
you're a couple years younger than me, but we were like right around our 30s, late 20s. And that's when you have kids.
Yeah.
And so if your kid came out with something, for me, the idea was if my kid has something and it's because I was selfish to go surf instead of grind and get a real job, I would never forgive myself. And so that's why
Did you feel like you were, well, even if you were at your peak or at the moment, still there was going to be a time in the next 10 years where you got to go get a real job anyway?
Oh, 100%.
So
I was at my peak. I remember it's funny, I was 29 or 30 at the time, but I remember up until that point, competitively, I was ready. I would take notes every time I lost. So I had all these notes from prior years of all these different spots because every wave's different.
Yeah.
And every time I'd go there, 2 weeks prior, I'd grab the boards. Hey, Wes, can we make this board like this? Hey, I did this. I want to be more, wax, leashes. I was that crazy. Like this full suit was a little bit heavy. Go with a short arm full or get the spring or whatever.
Yeah.
Show up 2 weeks early, go stay at this place, call them up, make a reservation. So I was ready mindset wise, board wise, and physically wise. I was training with Kimo Middlesworth. Shout out to Kimo. Thank you. With Kylan, Yamakawa, Moody, Joel, Shabbat's, Mike Dodd. Thanks, Mike's one of all those guys are my good buddies, Shabbat's and Mike.
I remember when you used to do that, because that's when I was like competing in jiu-jitsu. And I remember I was like back here on a vacation. I was living in California at the time. And I said something about, you were like, oh yeah, I'm training. And Bryce guys were like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, oh yeah, like I imagine surfing, you really want your anaerobic capacity up, whatever. Yeah. And I remember you looked at me like, oh, you know that kind of stuff. I remember you looked at me like, oh, that's right. Yeah. We're running hills and anaerobic capacity.
Oh, so secret.
That's why I remember it. Yeah, I remember he was like, oh, you know that kind.
When you that's when you like that book that you read. I forget it. You mentioned it in another podcast, but when you find somebody who's that obsessive and knows something too, you're like, oh no, this guy knows this.
See, I didn't know that you were competitive like that because I didn't. I just thought you were surprised that like intellectually, like, oh, you know about that kind. I didn't know you were thinking like.
I was surprised.
Hey, no, tell my competitors about anaerobic capacity.
I wasn't that competitive where like, don't tell them. I would be more like, nah, tell them. Let's all do this. If they train 3 times, I'll do 5. I was that crazy. Yeah. That's so funny that you remember.
You do a good job of keeping it cool though, even though, because when I'm that competitive against someone, like we can't be friends.
You know what's funny?
You do a good job.
So the mind gym thing. Sorry, short story. I know we need to go into that.
No, go for it.
But the mind gym thing. So I remember particularly like even Jason and Keikoa when because Jason, I'm competing with him in shortboard, right? So I'd say things like, "Hey, should we go eat over here?" And he's looked at me, like, "Hey, are you trying to mind gym me right now?" And I'm like, "Bro, let's just go eat here." He's like, What do you? I don't want to eat there." Like, bro. So I'd go into play, like we go. So on the tour, there'd be guys that camp there because they try to save money or whatever. They're only there for 2 nights, right? Yeah. So they camp on the beach. I guess the event would allow it, and Japan would be perfect. You can camp, camping car, whatever. So we'd roll in the convenience store, get our waters and breakfast and stuff because we're waking up early the next day. And there'd be one guy, I remember, I'll just say his name, Kenta. Me and Shabbat's were there. And they're like, "Nick, try mind gym him." I was like, "Okay."
Try mind gym.
So he's like, "Hey," and he would always try to tell me stuff like, "Hey, like what? You staying over there?" I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, the train's loud, huh?" When it walks by, I said, "Yeah, but you know what? I'm comfortable. How's the camping thing? Is it cold? Is it cold when you go to sleep?" It's pretty cold, yeah. I'd worry about the rain and everything too. And like, "Hey, by the way, your fins look good today, but not as good as yesterday." And I'll just walk away. Like, you can't just keep the conversation. You'd walk away because I would always try to like plant seeds, the wrong seeds. Yeah. So naughty. But
now I gotta I'm older now. I don't all the times I talk to you.
Why?
See if you planted seeds.
No, you guys are your family, brother. You're family. I know, it's so funny, man. Everybody's tripping like, "What's Nick said to you?" No, you're family. I wouldn't that particular time. But anyway, so tsunami happened. I had a real big decision. A lot of people wanted me to just go. Like even Corey's boss.
Yeah, you're at your peak.
Everything. I literally that year signed 3 to 5 year deals. So all my sponsors were pressuring me, hey, come, everybody's broken. Try to come here, bring their spirits up, this and that. And I'm like thinking, okay, even a lot of the older Japanese guys on tour. So there's a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for them because I know who they are. I've known who they were before I even was on tour, right? Being a surf enthusiast. And I had a lot of pressure and I just said, okay, look, I'm going to have to grind. And I remember my mom telling me, you have this thing in you that it was either my mom or my stepdad, my Uncle Kurt, he said, but one of them said, you should go into sales. You should do what your dad does because you'd be good at it. And if you don't know insurance, when you're an agent, it's different than real estate. You guys get a bigger cut of the pie than real estate.
Yeah, the incentive structure is different.
Yeah.
It's better in one way because you have recurring, but then it's different because it's smaller and the relationships are formed differently. We've talked about it at length.
We did.
But what I do know, the same type of person tends to rise to the top in both those industries.
Yeah.
And if you're not a little bit competitive or a lot of bit competitive and have an edge, if you don't have an it factor and an edge, you're probably not going to make it in either.
I think, and you know what, that personality, it's more so somebody who's not afraid to fail.
Yeah.
Because you're going to see a lot of failure. So I saw, going back, I made the decision to switch. So I went into it, bro, I'd get like $100 checks. And that's when Corey got pregnant. So I was dealing with going to be a dad.
Yeah.
And then also we just bought a townhouse. And like, dude, I'm starting from scratch, but I still have these 3-year deals or whatever. I just got to show up in Bali or show up to do photo shoots and this and that. And I was dealing with a lot of stress because that beginning part, I would make like $100. And my dad's company where I worked, I was an independent. My dad,
your dad just gave you everything, right?
No, he gave me zero. Yeah. It's funny. We talk about being competitive. I hope everybody thinks that I got everything. I hope that all the other, because they all know who
it's easy to think if your dad was successful in the industry, it's very natural to think, it was given to you.
Yes. But I told my dad even recently that, hey, you have 5 kids. I don't expect you to give me anything. And you worked your okole off for that. That's your retirement, brother. So you do what you do with that. And he said, thank you. Yeah, you're right. That is. I worked my butt off for this. This is my retirement. And thankfully, he showed me the ropes, but he showed me how to fish.
He didn't give you a book of business. Because that would be the easy thing in insurance. Is like move 100 files to you. Now you have recurring revenue.
100%.
Your family can eat.
No.
He didn't do that.
No. He said, you got to grind. You got to suffer. You got to get 1,000 no's and 1 yes. And I would get 10,000. So like this notebook right here that you have?
Yeah.
I had multiple ones of those. And every day I would call like everybody I knew. I'd go meet, as an example, I went to go meet shout out to my buddy, Keola Hayes. He's a sales rep, a good surfer, a good friend of mine. And I met with him and wrote down every single contact he had and called all of them. All the surf shops, all the people that he knew, all the reps, everybody, even his friends. I would call all of them. But you got to remember, when you have a business, right, you're not going to want to give it to a ex-pro surfer. Like, hey.
Just the idea of it. You can't be an intelligent, put together, all the qualities I'm looking for in a businessman. You can't be that as a surfer.
To trust
maybe as an ex-baseball player or something.
Maybe, yeah.
But not as a surfer.
Yeah.
You're a bimbo, like blonde hair.
Yeah.
This guy's like Raz gnarly out there. That's who you are,
That's true.
Yeah.
Surf bum, you don't know about liabilities. You don't know about, and so I literally worked so hard on everything. The insurance test, at that point, it was 10 years since I took a test, and it took me my dad jokes around. He says, you get the most expensive insurance license. Because every time you take the test, it's like $75. And I took it 3 or 4 times. Maybe, 4 times.
People do that with real estate too. Yeah.
But yeah, my dad made sure to make me know, like, hey,
That's good. So
the lady knew my name. She's like, oh, you're back again. See you in 2 weeks.
So even how old are you at that point? Like 30?
I was 30 or 29 or 30.
So even at 30, your dad stuck to those principles that I admire of like, hey, you got to do this.
He always tells me, I can, catch you a fish. You know that saying, right?
Yeah.
Or you can. And so now when he asks me questions about his computer, I'm like, brother, I can show you how to do it. Yeah. Stop. Why'd you do? No, bro. I'm going to teach you how to fish right now.
Yeah.
So I grinded. So as an insurance agent, the way that I make money is I'm an independent agent. I'm 1099 from the company. So as an example, if I sell $100 business policy, I get 5%. I get $5.
Yeah, we talked about this. Yeah.
So it's $5 for the year.
Yeah.
So if you make $1,000, if you sell $1,000 policy, you make $50 for the year. That's not, and then take away taxes. Now I'm making 30.
Yeah.
Or 40, whatever.
Yeah.
So now, my first few years, it was gnarly. It was a lot of stress. Because I was starting in the industry, having a kid, and having a mortgage now. And I remember the beginning, because I knew everybody in the company. My dad, they knew me since I was small. And I remember
harder to respect you.
Yeah, no, but it was
a little kid. Right?
Yeah. But it was really good because they were my aunties who would give me, thank you, Tracy and Casey and Julia, everybody who helps me, and Verna and Gail, everybody who's helped me out from the beginning, because they didn't sugarcoat anything. Yeah. They were like, hey, figure it out. And when you read something on your own and try to figure it out rather than somebody tell you, you retain it.
Yeah.
And they knew that I'm not that smart, so I have to try to read it over and over to retain it. But they like the first few months was like $100 a check, and they're like, hey, Nick, joking around but kind of serious, the paper costs more and the accounting costs more than that. So we'll wait till it's like a couple $100 to give you a check. So I was suffering the first few years, but I grinded and literally like I was saying, this book would be filled. I'd call 50 people, get all no's. Like, wait, what did you do last year? Oh, I was on tour. Like, oh, that's what I thought. We're good. And you remember how I talked earlier about remembering people? I remember everybody that told me no.
Yeah.
And so I didn't have no animosity towards them. I understand their decisions.
I get it. I was just talking with a guy yesterday, and I was talking about how I even have business partners now that didn't really give me much attention, and I have some who I remember and will never work with, but I would go around meeting people and they were unimpressed and uninterested, and I'm like, makes sense. I'm a nobody agent. I never done anything.
Yeah.
It's business, so I'm not offended as long as they approached it the right way.
Yeah.
So like you could give me like not be interested in me, but be respectful, and it's fine. We can still work together today.
Yeah.
And then some were really rude and like dismissive and like.
You remember those?
And,
right?
I remember those too.
Remember what color shirt they was wearing?
No, I remember but I remember a lot about it though.
There you go. See that you got the same. But you don't have small man syndrome. You're too big to have that. I kind of
do. Like I have things that drive me, But okay, so let's do a part 2 and a part 3 and
whatever.
And here's the thing: you're a guy just like we didn't even have to go through a timeline. Like we just talk about Hawaii and parenting and anything. But for this one, I do have a real estate client that I gotta go talk to.
Yeah.
But before that, so next on the agenda, I want to finish out next time we talk, I want to talk more about finishing out the pro tour, those principles you take into insurance.
Okay.
Parenting, because we've bounced that stuff off of each other.
Yeah.
Coaching our kids, etc. You have 2 amazing kids, amazing wife. But for now, 2 things. First, if someone is, hears this and is like, yeah, that kind of guy with that kind of drive, that's who I want on my side in my business and needs business insurance or something, how do they get in contact with you?
I'd say the best way to get in contact with me is email.
Email?
Yeah. Nick M. Or I guess you can, I would say Instagram or email. Instagram is at Nick Mita.
At Nick Mita.
I think it's at Nick Mita. There's an underscore in there somewhere.
Call your office and ask for you?
Or just call my office. Look up Innovative Insurance.
Call Innovative Insurance and ask for Nick Mita.
808. Can I give the number?
Yeah, if you want to.
369-8700.
Okay.
And then you can email me. It's nickm@iirhi.com. But disclosure, I'm not the cheapest guy, and I'm more of a guy that like looks at your overall risk. So I'm like, hey,
No, you've told me when I had an X-ray staffing company, you were like, bro, I would charge you so much. Try to look at one of these types of companies.
Yeah.
I found the type of company. It was like way cheaper.
yeah.
That's good advice though.
Yeah, I have this, I don't know if it's a good or a bad trait where I growing up in Hawaii, we do things to help other people out.
Yeah.
Whether it benefits you or not,
Yeah.
you need to do that because hopefully those people learn and they can carry that on, right? That's the aloha spirit.
Yeah.
So that I try to help everybody, whether it benefits me or not.
Yeah.
So give me a call. I'll but I'm not the cheapest guy.
And what makes sense for your business and what you're looking for right now is like bigger accounts, right?
Yes.
Like, not that you won't talk to people and help people, but
Yeah.
big accounts make sense. Same with me. Like if someone's like, hey, I need to sell, $20,000 cardboard box or something. Like it's not that I won't help them. I 100% will help them, but I'm probably going to have someone else help them, right? Like whatever makes sense, because I'm not going to be able to serve them. Like I'm not going to answer their questions repeatedly over time, and it would be selfish of me to even try and keep that. So there's nothing wrong with that, and I appreciate that transparency. And then the last thing, and then we got to run, but we'll do this again.
Yeah.
Marv.
Oh.
Is there anything we want to shout out to Marv? Like in terms of like a GoFundMe or just no?
I don't know. We'd have to hit Marv up for that. I think he's all good, but that's a crazy story. That's actually a good guy to talk to. Well, he's dealt with.
We'll close it on that. At Barbers, where I grew up surfing, and Nick's definitely surfed, but I know it's like your home breakout, but White Plains people call it, but Barbers. The mayor, like the man at Barbs is Marv. He's been the lifeguard there forever. He's coached all these people we've referenced. He's like coached them and guided them as they come to that beach. And, he's been going through some stuff. And so just shout out to Marv and our aloha to Marv.
He beat cancer.
That's
in, I think
he's continually beating cancer.
Yeah. Beating cancer.
Yeah.
Present tense.
Yeah.
It's a pretty unreal story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's just everyone, if you ever spend any repeated time at Barb's, you know Marv. And he's like a part of my childhood. Because next time we're on, but I've told you this story. He's like, take the damn single fin off, put on the side fins, and longboard like a Hawaiian. Like longboard the way you're supposed to if you want to be on the surf team. After all the Joel guys graduated that last year. But
that's good.
Marv, shout outs to Marv, and we'll do this again, bro. Thank you.
Sorry, bro, we talked too much.
No, that's like Joe Rogan episodes are like 3 hours because it's easy to do it when you're having a good conversation.